Good evening, Internet, and people listening to this podcast on things that are not the Internet. Welcome to Kent are at Your Own Risk. This is going to be episode 15 with your hosts, Kent and Chris. Kent is the good-looking one. Chris is the one who just likes to prattle on and on. How are you doing, Kent?
I sometimes have dreams where I have hair. Like, once a year, this happens. And I feel like sharing that with people.
Now that you bring that up, here's a question for you. And maybe, I don't know. But just because, when you dream, do you see yourself? And if you do, what age, where are you when you see yourself?
Like in the dreams where I have hair?
Well, just in dreams in general.
Alright, so if I have hair in a dream, I always obviously see myself. I always look in the mirror, and usually I have like a little bit longer hair. Not quite wrestler length, but longer than like a normal short dude's haircut. It's always nice, it's always straight, there's no waves or curls to it. It's nice. And it looks really weird on me too. And as far as age goes, I feel like I look almost the same as I have for at least the past 10 years. So, like, whatever I kind of look like from, like, mid-20s to mid-30s, like, that's kind of my look in my dreams, I guess.
I noticed that when I was younger, not significantly younger, but when I was younger and I was having nightmares, a lot of my nightmares, I would be a kid still. But nowadays, I mean, I dream in first person when I'm dreaming about myself, so I don't usually see myself, but I usually know, like, I'm somewhere in, like, my late 20s to early 30s, because most of my dreams, I'm in my badass superhero phase kind of going on, so.
Yeah, I mean, there are times where I can definitely tell, like, you know, people tell me I'm weird. I have a lot of dreams that take place in school that aren't about school. It's just kind of like the setting for what storm is about to happen. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like, hospitals, I think, are cooler places for dreams, but usually the school is where everything takes place because it's a big building. There's stairs, there's corridors. Like, if you really think about it, you can make the school into a pretty goddamn scary place. And since I have a lot of horror-themed dreams, like, I don't know. I always like the idea of a horror movie taking place in a school.
Yeah, I mean, schools and hospitals are pretty scary, and I think it's very fitting that it sounds like that's your two primary dream areas.
Yeah. Also, you know, I gotta tell you, today I got great 3 things from Amazon in the mail, and I feel like this is important because I got some dental sticks, like the floss sticks. I got Disney's Robin Hood, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. And what brought this up is I also got these gourmet pumpkin seeds that are maple sugar and sea salt. They're delicious.
I have one thing to say to you.
Little whistle stop. The original hamster song that never gave credit. Yeah. Old bushel britches.
I'll have an outlaw for an in-law.
Like, that movie is so fucking good, and I didn't own it, and so yeah, I found it. I had the digital code, and in case you've been on my Voodoo count recently, you know that I'm digging my digital movies.
I did see that.
I went through my Blu-ray collection and just found every scrap, like any of them that actually had the digital code, I added, and yeah, I went a little over top, but I'm pleased with myself.
You know what made me laugh to go along with that was I just got the email from Ultraviolet this week that Ultraviolet officially no longer exists.
Yeah, but yeah, you can still redeem some of the movies. It's weird.
I thought that was funny, but to segue on. But anyways, we actually have things to talk about in regards to what we said last month we were going to talk about. So Kent picked 2 movies for me to watch and then for us to discuss, and I gave Kent a list of like 20 movies and said just pick 2. So for me, I had to watch the Asylum. I believe it was 1979.
72.
72. Okay, even older. 72. And Southbound from 2015. And what did you end up picking?
I end up going with Jacob's Ladder, and I watched Us because I don't know. I just did. I have to note something. I feel like you pick movies that are almost 2 hours long every time. Like, they're within, like, the 1 hour and 50 minute to, like, 2 hour and 10 minute. Like, they almost always fall in that little time area. It's pretty impressive.
Maybe that's my secret. That's
I feel like that's your sweet spot.
I don't know. Do you want to start or do you want me to start? I'm good.
Whatever, I don't mind. I can start. I can start with Jacob's Ladder.
Okay, you know what? I have like lots of questions because I haven't seen this in a long time. So part of what I threw up last month was like, I don't remember if this holds up or not. So I was curious. Does it hold up?
Yes. By and large, the answer is yes. Because all right, so it has 7.5 on IMDb. The first 20 minutes are very touch and go as far as slowness goes because you have the opening scene in Vietnam, and you see some faces that you kind of recognize, Ving Rhames, for instance, and Eric LaSalle. And then it just, kind of gets, I don't want to say boring, but just, very mediocre, just storytelling. And then Tim Robbins starts seeing shit. And this delves into, this whole, was it a conspiracy? And yes, it delved into the fact that, the government did some chemical LSD type shit. I wasn't like MK Ultra, but it was something similar. Mm-hmm. He kind of is dealing with what happened with his family. Basically, him and his wife broke up. His youngest son, played by fucking Macaulay Culkin, got in an accident. There's just a ton of people that like Jason Alexander still has mostly a full head of hair. One of my favorite, those guys, Pruitt Taylor Vince, who I first met on The Walking Dead as Otis. Mm-hmm. He's in it. He's the guy that Tim Robbins meets in the bar, and he's basically suicidal, and then his car gets exploded. Because government cover-up and shit like that. And then, Danny Aiello, he was really good at it. And just basically everybody was there was good performances by everybody. Elizabeth Pena, I don't know how you pronounce her name. Pena. She was really good. I thought she was really, aside from Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins obviously owned this, especially his hair. Everybody's hair game was top-notch. I would say probably by the half-hour mark, probably 20-minute mark, there's this party scene, and he is seeing her get her freak on with some demon or something like that, and they're playing some great music. There was Lady Marmalade and something else, so the music was really good, and it was just continuously trippy and scary. The Asylum stuff was scary. It was overall a really good presentation once you got past the first 20 minutes. But there is a but here, and the but is that I felt that once you get to the end of it, I don't know, if you think about it, there's so much religious overtones to it, and it wasn't as heavy-handed as Mother was, mm-hmm. But it was close, and the more I read about it, I was like, oh my god, I don't recommend anybody reading about it unless they really want to get into the whole religious side, because once you read about it, it's oh, this was all basically basically religionized in a lot of ways, based on, like, they talk about how they named the kids, like, everybody kind of has like a biblical name of some form. You know, he's Jacob, he's with Jezebel, and you know, you find out that, you know, he's been dead this whole time, kind of thing. Like, he died in Nam, but like he made up this whole like life for himself after Nam in some LSD induced dream, basically. It's all fucking weird and trippy, but it's also biblical, and Jacob's ladder is actually like a thing, and I love the fact that they called the drug the ladder. There, by and large, it was a very positive experience. It was just the religious thing. I didn't necessarily see it coming until it hit me right in the fucking face, and like I said, though, at least it was so much better done than Mother was. Have you seen Mother?
I have not.
Good. Don't. Like, God damn it, that movie. I paid $1.45 for it, and I'm still not sure if I got the better end of that deal or not. But with that being said, I really like this. This was a very positive experience for me. And Tim Robbins, man, I don't know. There was like that time frame between this and like Shawshank. That motherfucker could act.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember, shit, what was the... I'll think of it, like, eventually, you know, down the road. What I was trying to think of.
Mystic River was really good. I liked him in that.
Yeah, he was really good in that. The Player. The Player was awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. All in all, I'm happy that you had me watch it. I even talked to Eric about this earlier, because he was also like, well, does it hold up type thing. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm a little surprised that they're remaking it, and now that I know what to kind of expect, like, they're probably gonna update it so it's not Vietnam, it's gonna be something else.
Yeah, it looks like Desert Storm or whatever, you know, like well, not like the '90s Desert, but Iraqi Freedom or whatever the hell it's called now. I don't know. I mean, I thought it was
isn't that
interesting.
Like what the jacket was?
Kind of, yeah. Kind of the same thing, yeah, but without being necessarily more of a drama and less of a, like, what the fuck was that kind of demon shit going on, you know?
Right. I will say this, the demon stuff, I was trying to think, I know there's got to be something else that is better for me to use. I kept thinking of Devil's Advocate when Keanu would start seeing weird shit. But, like, is there other movies where the main character sees, like, people as demons? Like, I know I've seen it. I just can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
God, yeah, that'll come to me like 3 o'clock in the morning.
I fully expect a text when it does.
I mean, I remember kind of like there was that whole thing in, what was it, Intruders?
Yeah. There's one that was actually well known though. Or at least well known in my mind. I don't know, but either way, I'll just shut up and say that good movie. I would give it at least. I would give it a 7, maybe like 7.2, 7.3. I'd give it. Yeah, it's got to be a little higher than 7. And 7's usually like a pretty good benchmark for me.
Good, yeah. Wow. That's pretty high.
Yeah, pretty. That'll be the high benchmark for conversation. This podcast.
Yeah.
So which one do you want to tackle first? The positive experience or the not so positive experience?
I would say they were both positive. I would just say one was surprisingly good and the other was positive and then disappointing. All right, let's hit Asylum first. I liked it. Like, one of the things I wanted to bring up as I was talking about it is, I'm you know, 20 years from being in high school and college, a lot of like my technical knowledge is kind of evaporated when it comes to that kind of stuff because I got into a different line of work instead of staying within trying to go into the film industry. So I know that there are different stocks, different sizes of footage, different grains, 35 millimeter, 28 millimeter, and that depending upon the speed that you film can also affect how the shit looks. So one of the things that I wanted to point out was that, like, for being 6 years earlier, Asylum looked 200% better than the Sentinel.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It looked really, yeah.
Additionally, the acting was, for the most part, top notch. The stories weren't bad. I mean, for me, where the movie falls apart is the special effects, and that's it. Kind of makes me feel shallow, but like in the first vignette where the man and his lover are killing his wife so they can leave, inherit her fortune, whatever, what have you. When you see like the severed leg just kind of flopping around on the floor, in addition to the like limbless torso just kind of shuffling on the floor, even when I was a kid, I would have been laughing at that before I would have been afraid of it. So it's one of those things where like I can get why the overall experience would be scary, while looking at the execution of it took me out of the movie enough to make me question it.
Do you, like, I wondered if back in 1972, if when people saw that silly shit that you're referring to, was it scary or was it kind of in the same grain that, people in the 80s watched Creep Show and was like, yeah, we get it. This part's silly and it's just part of an anthology. Like, because, like in the 70s, people found things scarier, for different things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like anything. Any generation is going to have different things that are scarier. Like we were saying, like the whole idea of Freddy in the 80s scared the shit out of me. I was afraid to go to sleep nights sometimes because I was like, oh shit, he's gonna fucking get me. But I can't think of like a single teenager now who would be afraid of that shit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just kind of silly. Yeah.
And I mean, and unfortunately, when we're going back and watching an old movie like this, 47 years later?
Yeah.
Again, it's hard to put myself in the mind space to separate, practical effects from the horror. That's unfortunately, horror is probably the one genre outside of sci-fi and fantasy that really has to rely on having good special effects. I mean, you can get by with shitty acting and still have a decent horror movie, if the effects are up there.
Yeah, it makes me appreciate like what we got with, say, Terminator 2 or even Independence Day, like how good the visual effects were. Like even by today's standards, they still hold up versus like some, like sometimes you could just tell that they knew what the fuck they were doing or had the budget to do what they wanted to do. Sometimes it's just budget related, whatever. But yeah, I agree. I was going to ask you, what was your favorite of the, what was it, 4 stories, right?
Yeah, okay, well, I like the first one. It was probably the shortest, but the setup wasn't bad. My only problems with the acting would have been in the second one, because it was just, like, blatantly obvious that they were using just, like, tropes to identify the, like, the foreigner.
That was the one with Peter Cushing, right? The Taylor one, right?
Yeah, yep. But it wasn't a bad, but like just the accents were like pretty fucking bad. Yeah. The third one was actually pretty good. Again,
with Lucy, right?
yeah, with Lucy. Yep.
I think the Lucy one actually may have been my favorite one because it was just crazy enough for me. I don't know. I really liked it.
The fourth one again was another one where okay, I had to just like what the hell kind of like who thought that was a good idea for a scary doll?
It's scary only the fact that like
Like
it's creepy looking, but yeah, that didn't work on any level.
it's like a giant fucking Lego guy.
Yeah. I pulled up my blog that I wrote about, and I'm seeing the pictures of it, and it's great. It's still great. As ridiculous as it is.
But then like my like part of the end is what got me is like I was trying to figure out like what the hell was the point of the overarching story? Like what was the doctor trying to do? Like I get, hey, he just fucking killed some dude. But was he always going to kill the guy? You know, was it because he didn't guess right? I mean, like what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean,
Why did the guy in the downstairs go along with it? Like, was he in on it? Like, where did he disappear to after this? You know, when the new dude shows up after the prologue, I was just like, I mean, as a horror movie, you know, from the 70s, okay, there you go, it makes sense. Trying to like overall inspire a connecting plot in the connecting story. It didn't make sense to me.
if somebody made this movie nowadays, you know, with updated actors and all this shit, and still gave me that finale for a story, I'd be super fly pissed. But with it being the 70s and knowing like all the other Amicus anthologies, this kind of, it wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst as far as overlapping. It was right in the middle because like some of those were really bad. There's one in particular, Burgess Meredith, who I love as like the devil, and it just was terrible. So hit or miss on these, but yeah, I mean, it's 47 years old. It's definitely not something you would ever like. You can't show it to like a millennial. I don't think a millennial would fucking lose their head. You know.
I think it'd less be like they would get upset and more like they'd just be like, why are we watching this? Or they would fall asleep. So
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
but I mean, like, it wasn't a bad movie, and I don't regret watching it. I was just like,
I hear you. So what would you give it for a rating?
like, my scale is different. Like, I still don't understand it quite how yours works, but on a 1 to 10, I would give it like somewhere between like a 6.8 to a 7.9. Yeah.
I actually gave it a 6.8, which if I were to say to you, I mean, the basis of the scale obviously is anything 5 or higher, I'd rewatch it. And like 7, anything above 7's like that sweet mark where if it's above 7, I'd probably like to own the movie. And I didn't get over 7 with this, and with it being on Amazon Prime, I don't have to have it anyway, but 7 or higher is usually like, I want to own the movie, basically.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad. It could have been better, but it wasn't bad.
All right.
So, tell me about Us. Tell me what you thought. I haven't seen it yet, so don't worry about spoiling it. It was already spoiled for me like the first week it was out because I can't avoid the internet at my job. So
Gotcha. I avoided it. I avoided everything. I remember Eric and I talked about it. He's like, do you want me to spoil it? I'm like, no, I'm going to see. He's like, you're going to be disappointed. I'm like, yeah, I know that. So, alright. I want to say that I think Jordan Peele has some good ideas. I think he's good at a lot of things with his filmmaking. I also want to say that we have put this man so high on a pedestal for no good motherfucking fucking reason whatsoever. I mean, at least with M. Night Shyamalan, like, a lot of people loved The Sixth Sign, or Sixth Sense. And although I didn't like it, he had a good follow-up. He had Unbreakable, and then he had an even better follow-up with Signs. So, like, he earned some good vibes, so to speak, with me. Fuck, man. Like, he tried. He reached, and, like, the father was like, the casting was really good. I was shocked to see Tim Heidecker and the chick from Handmaid's Tale, Elizabeth Moss. I was shocked that they were even in this. I thought the acting was really good. I thought it looked wonderful. My issue is with the fucking quote-unquote twist and how they... And I'll tell you, the twist, I understand that. Alright, do you go for originality or do you go for something tried and true? As a wrestling fan, I will say that so often wrestling tries to go for something unusual or different or something we haven't seen before, instead of just going down the logical progressive path that helps make everybody look good in the end, right? They try to outthink themselves, so to speak. That's what this fucking movie did. They outthought themselves. Instead of the stupid twist that they gave us, what the twist should have been is questioning which version of the mother was at the end. But they gave it away. Like, that should have been the twist, was that we got, tethered world mom. Like, that should have been the twist, not that, oh, we already know that we have tethered world mom, and that normal world mom was always stuck in the tethered world underground facility with rabbits. I actually just had to pause a moment and shake my head at everything I just fucking said. That hurt a lot. This fucking movie has a goddamn 7.0 on IMDb, and I'm telling you right now, I don't give a fuck. Between that and Get Out having the 7.7, fuck you, liberal-minded Hollywood 2019. You guys are fucking retarded. Like, fucking judge a movie on its goddamn credit. Like, on how good it is, not because 2019 reasons, okay? Like, most of this movie was good. Most of this movie was enjoyable. But there are movies that get completely fucking batshit ruined by the ending, right? Like, we've all seen those movies where, like, you're like, oh, I'd probably give it a 7. Oh, that ending, oh, I'd give it a 5. Like, there you go. That's what happened. Like, the ending really flat out royally, and there's so many plot holes. Like,
yeah, that was the big thing that from getting it spoiled and then, like, hearing people's reviews, it just sounded like how does this even make sense?
Dude, at one point the boy decides, oh, my tethered person will actually mimic me like a mirror, so, like, he backs up his red version self into a fire. But none of the other tethered people remotely act like they're on the fucking Patty Duke show, which is a really old reference, and I just made it. Like, god damn it, they're so, like, why... All the lady had to say was like, hey, I'm from the real world and this bitch fucked me over. No, you can't get that out. You have to talk like a creepy bitch for the next fucking hour and a half. You can't just say what's on your mind. No, because you got to make this into a twist. Well, what was the point in that? You could have just got this over with really early on. What was the point in Hands Across America? Like, they don't even, like, really make a point with the Hands Across America thing. They just do it. At the end of the day, I'm glad, because I've had a few opportunities to buy this and it keeps going down in price. I'm really glad I did not buy it. With that being said, when it hits $5 and I can get the digital code along with it, I'll probably buy it. I'll give it a 5.5 because there was a lot of things that I laughed at. I thought the comedy in it was actually really much better than I thought it would be. I thought the acting was really good by the mom and father in this. Actually, the daughter was actually really great in it. Didn't get used to her full potential, but she was good for what they did with her. It was just such a missed opportunity with that bullshit twist. I don't know. Missed opportunity of the movie part 2 because Get Out was... At this point, Jordan Peele really has to fucking make a movie that makes sense, or else I'm done. Like, I'm giving him one more fucking movie, and that's it. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
Yeah. So, with that being said, let's talk about something far more positive and batshit crazy, because as batshit crazy as Us was in a tethered world and rabbits and cages and underground, Southbound completely outdoes that.
Where did everybody get scissors?
I don't know. I didn't know that everybody had the scissors and everybody has the glove. And I don't know if they're shadow beings. Like, they keep saying tethered and then, like, they're shadows. But, like, they're just living in the bottom, like, the basement of a building. Like, they have, like, bunk beds and shit. Or not bunk beds, but, like, a big room with a bunch of beds. And they're all just, like, living peacefully, all dressed in red with scissors and gloves. And, fuck, man. God. Yeah, I don't have answers. I really don't. Smarter people out there probably like, oh, well, all you have to do is interpret it this way, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not having that shit with this.
Gotcha.
Not doing it. I want to say that there are so many better movies with, like, majority black actors in it. So, like... This just makes me want to go rewatch Tales from the fucking Hood and People Under the Stairs and be like, oh, this is what it's like when you actually do it right.
So anyways, yeah, Southbound.
Yeah.
I'd heard good things about it from you. I finally watched it. And, yeah, it was fucking pretty good. Looking at people's... I want to say critiques, what have you, online. Like, one of the things I saw people saying were that, like, the special effects were kind of shoddy. I was like, I don't really think so. I think they did a good job with the effects. The scenarios, if you will, were all different, vaguely explained. The segues in between them were interesting. Yeah, I really liked it. I really liked it as an anthology movie and just an overall horror movie.
I actually really liked the segues. I thought were really well done. Like, because I remember watching this a few times, and then, like, it did actually take me like 2 or 3 times before, like, everything finally was like clicking. The more times you watch it, the more things like kind of click into place in this movie. I'm not saying it's mandatory to have to watch it multiple times, but for me it was mandatory to fully get everything out of the movie. Because the opening thing with the fucking skeleton things, you're just like, what in the hell? Like, knowing what I know now, like, what a great beginning. But, like, the first time you watch it, you're completely confused by what the fuck you are seeing.
I was pretty sure. I was like, that looks like a fucking Grim Reaper. And then I'm like, yep, pretty sure it is. Pretty sure it's a Grim Reaper kind of thing.
What was your favorite story, or I don't know, segment story, whatever you want to call it?
Well, all right. So I think that, see, one of the things I would have liked would have been at least, because I see a lot of people referring to the segments by names, and like, they weren't in there, so I wasn't sure which one was which. But, like, okay, so I think Inbound.
I could tell you the names if you need them.
The first one is Inbound or Intro or whatever the hell. That one was just okay. but it works better when it gets over, and you finish it and you see it, the framing device for what it is. The one with the girls
Siren.
was fucking creepy. And I liked that they never explained what was going on.
Yeah, the whole thing, like, that burned mass of meat. I don't know why, but the meat sticks out to me in that segment.
No thanks, I don't eat meat. Oh, this is so good.
It just looked so bad.
Yeah. So like the whole premise too, like breaking down in the middle of nowhere, and then like you go with somebody because they're the only people that you fucking see, like the fucking bear trap. Oh no, it's broken. Ha ha.
It wasn't there like two weird brothers in that one?
Yeah, the neighbors
boys.
who, yeah.
Oh.
So I like that one. I think the one I liked the most was the next one though, the one with the hospital.
The accident.
Yeah. Just fucked up. Like, what a fucking fucked up situation.
You feel like in that situation, like I'm sitting there like I don't know what more you do though, because like you're hoping for help and like you're trying to save this fucking girl's life, and I don't. As crazy it is to say, it almost had a point of realism as far as like if you're in the main guy's situation and you don't know anything about how to help somebody or do medical attention, like yeah, you probably like listen to this person on the phone, right?
At the point he was at, like, what other choice did he have?
Yeah.
The next one after that,
Jailbreak,
was like a really interesting setup and like really interesting shit. Like I would have liked to have seen more. Like when the dude grows the claws on his hand. Obviously they're all demons or whatnot, but like it just seemed an interesting premise.
It was interesting, but it was my weakest one.
At the same time, I was going to say being the weakest episode.
It also had Lushek from Orange is the New Black. I was like, wow, I've finally seen that guy in something else.
And then the last one,
Way In,
was good. And it works better when you see that it ties into the first one and ties everything together.
Right. And did you know the radio DJ was Larry Fessenden?
I did. I was like, Kent's got a fucking heart on now because this guy's doing the fucking rough voice. So.
Yeah. Such a small role, but yeah, can't help it.
Anything I see, I'm like, when I see his name, I'm like, Kent's either watch this, he's going to watch it, or he's going to make me watch it. So.
Yeah, probably all three. This came out in 2015, and I don't know. I wish this had got caught on fire. Like, Trick or Treat has had a lot of eyes on it. This movie has not had nearly as many eyes. Like, not even like a tenth of the eyes on it. I don't think.
Well, the one thing I'll say that Trick or Treat had going for it is it had not necessarily a great cast, but it had name recognition.
It had Anna Paquin,
Anna Paquin, you had Brian Cox, Nobody
actually
knows
had people.
Dylan Thomas?
Dylan Baker.
Dylan Baker. Nobody knows his name, but everybody knows who he is because you're like, he's been a dick or a creepy dude or whatever in something that you've seen.
Yeah, that sums it up.
But, this was all unknowns, basically.
I can't imagine that the budget was very big for this.
I really feel like it wasn't, but I think they did a lot with what they had.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job. I'd love to have seen a sequel. I mean, it's not impossible for a sequel, but we're 4 years out. Kind of iffy at this point.
Yeah. I mean...
But...
Yeah, like at this point, would they be able to keep the originality, or would it just be like reaching too much to try to just put a whole bunch of new vignettes in the same kind of area?
they'd have to, in order for them to do it, it'd have to be all new, and they'd have to figure out another way to tie everything together. And once again, this is why I think Creepshow 3 succeeds on so many levels, even though people hate that movie. Like, it's tough when you're doing an anthology movie to tie everything together and have it make good sense at the end. It's just a difficult job, I think. So, I don't know. I'd like to... I don't know what these people that made it... see, there's a bunch of freaking directors on it, so it's not like there's one overlying... I don't know who the mastermind was behind it, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see more. Like, had you ever heard of this movie prior to me recommending it?
Nope, I had not.
I saw it on Amazon Prime during one of my nights of, I want to watch something that I've never heard of before. So, like, I'll go on Amazon and I'll check, and that's how I come across, like, Nudist Colony of the Dead and so many awful things. And I came across this, I was like, sounds good. I love anthologies. And most of the anthologies that are for free are awful on Prime. This one just surprised me.
Yeah, it was a good surprise. So I am glad that you gave this one to me. I would give it like a 8.8.
Wow. On my blog, I gave it a 7.2, which is, as you know, that's high for me. And really, the thing was that the Jailbreak one, I only gave one of 2.0. So that's where it lost a good chunk. Everything else was very much above average to me. I actually had Siren, the second one with the fucking weird meat. I think that was my favorite. That's what I had it ranked as.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That one was the most disturbing.
That's. I think that's what. It wasn't the best story. It was just so fucking. Between that and the accident, those were. I don't know. All in all, I just have great memories, and I don't know. I don't own it. I'd like to own it. I don't know if so many of these movies that I like that I find online, it's like hard as hell to buy them nowadays, which kind of sucks. I'm looking to see if I can actually buy it. I checked earlier for I can't even remember, and I couldn't even Pontypool. Can't find it to buy without it being like a foreign copy.
Really?
Yeah, kind of sucks.
Interesting.
And Southbound, all I'm seeing I'm seeing it available to rent or to stream. I'm not seeing anything else. I'm seeing The Void, Volume 2.
Really?
But it's not based on... I'm really confused. It's not based on the movie The Void?
Huh?
I don't know. I'm confused. Whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. With all that being said, I know we gotta pick two movies. Do you know what two movies you're making me watch?
What was still on the list? Did you? Oh, you said you got Day Watch and Night Watch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Those two.
All right. Day Watch and Night Watch. Okay. I am gonna give you. You gave me 4 movies to work with here, and I think out of the 4, I would like you to watch. I told you I wasn't going to give you another 70s movie, but I'm giving you Suspiria, and you're either going to love it or hate it.
That's fine. I mean, I know enough about it now to...
Yeah. And the other one is going to be The Girl in the Photographs.
All right.
Wes Craven's final film, Catherine Isabel. I thought it was really good, but some people, I don't know. Another one of those movies. I mean, Suspiria is at least considered a classic. The Girl in the Photographs is just considered kind of average in the world of horror, I would guess. But Yeah, both are good. Um, I want to say that although we're probably not going to cover this in the next podcast that we do,
Mhm.
for September 2nd, which is Nine Deuce, I really want to do uh, a big blog on a film called Suicide Kings, which is not horror in any way. Have you seen Suicide Kings?
Yeah. Yeah, I used to have it on VHS, actually.
It's currently on sale on Amazon streaming on their Prime Video or whatever for $4. And so I'm encouraging everybody that hasn't seen it or everybody that has seen it that liked it to buy it because I thought it was a great movie. And that's going to be something for next month that I really want to do. I'm just a huge fan. I think it's a great quotable film, great cast. So yeah, that was one announcement that I wanted to make, and I have a second minor announcement to make. In October, at some point, one of the days, I'm going to make some time from my incredibly insane schedule. But I'm going to be working on doing a director commentary with my buddy Jay on the first film him and I ever made, and then that's going to get released by the end of October. So by the time we get to the by the time we do our podcast in October, I should have more definitive information. But it's something kind of cool that I'm looking forward to.
Awesome.
Yeah. So those are all my big announcements. Oh, I have one other one. It's not really that big, but for October, as you know, I do 100 movies. I'm pretty sure this year I'm doing a lot of Hitchcock. I have not watched hardly any Hitchcock movies.
I have not seen enough. Let me put it like that.
I've seen Psycho and I've seen The Birds, and I don't know if I've seen. I saw some of Vertigo. I don't think I've ever
seen Psycho, Vertigo, Rear Window. Did he do?
Yeah,
Did he do North by Northwest?
he did that. Yeah, he did The Man Who Knew Too Much.
Those are the four I've seen then. Yeah. I've never
Yeah.
seen The Birds.
Wow. Have you ever seen Birdemic?
I have not.
Don't. Actually, do yourself a favor. It might still actually be on Amazon Prime. If it is, watch it for 5 minutes, turn it off, hate me for it.
I can honestly say that I will probably forget the name of that movie in like 5 minutes and never really lose much sleep over the fact that I forgot it. So
Yeah, it's a tough movie to watch, but it's like, you know how some people really like Tommy Wiseau's The Room. I've never seen it, but it's kind of like got that kind of so bad that it's good.
I will say that I haven't seen The Room, but I did enjoy the one that they talked about the making of it, The Disaster Artist.
Okay, yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
I've never seen either. That's actually something I'm doing the day that I do the director commentary. My buddy Jay wants me to watch The Room with him, so no pressure whatsoever to possibly enjoy a film. I hate pressure.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So, all right. Just a reminder for next month, Chris and I will be doing top 10. I'm really going to try to keep it to under 25. Top 10 movies from the 70s, horror movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's less of a reminder and more that Ken is just saying this for the first time that we're going to be doing top 10 1970s horror movies.
Yeah, my mind's all over the place.
I got your back, buddy.
But, quite frankly, all right, just thinking about it without, like, giving out names, do you feel that both of our top 10s are probably going to have at least 6 or 7 of the same movies? Because I'm guessing it will be, just different order.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, the one of the problems with the 70s, and not really a problem so much, but, like, the big ones are the fucking classics.
Right, like, I don't know enough of the other ones, so as we all know, we know Jaws, we know Exorcist, we know Omen, we know Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we know Halloween, so on and so forth. I feel that's just going to be how the list is going to kind of play itself out, is mainly the more well-known ones, because I don't even know where to begin looking for other ones. So I mean, yes, there are online lists, but I don't trust these lists nearly as much as I used to.
Yeah.
But people listening to this should definitely trust my list.
Oh, yeah. There was just one we just forgot that I just saw as soon as first thing that popped up on the internet.
Suspiria?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty predictable list for this next month, which will be nice because sometimes our lists fucking range far afield.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll be nice is that we'll be able to go dive a little more in depth probably into them rather than have to barely like, hey, 10 seconds, move on to the next film. So it'll be all right. So.
Ooh, there's another one. Yeah, this is going to be tough.
Hills Have Eyes, was that 70s?
77, yeah.
And Last House on the Left was 70s.
72. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot to choose from.
There's a lot. Yep.
Was The Howling 70s?
Howling was 80s.
Okay.
Very 80s.
I mean, if Dee Wallace was in it, it was probably the 80s. So that, either way, I'm excited to do it. Yeah. Do you have any other final thoughts before we finish this?
No, I'm good. I'm looking forward to next month. I'm looking forward to see how crazy you go in October.
Yeah, I'm gonna do as good of a job as I possibly can. If I can't make 100, I can't. But I go in with the mentality of making 100 every year. Past 2 years, last year actually I hit 100 movies watched. I didn't hit 100 movies blogged because it got to the point where I was getting so time consumed that I would be watching a movie while writing a blog, and I fell way behind. So I watched 100, just didn't blog about all of them. Like, I realized I do not have blogs on any of the Leprechaun movies aside from part 1 and 2, which is fine, except I know I watched them, so now I'm mad that I didn't blog about them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's probably another thing I'll be tackling. Yay. But that's all I got. Next podcast we'll also hit up Suicide Kings in the second part of our 2-part podcast series. I know you want to wrap this up, but real quickly, I wanted to talk about Stranger Things. I'll just ask you this simply: was Stranger Things season 3 better than season 2? Because I thought it was.
I think I have to stand by what I said in the blog for when it goes up on the website. But
okay.
I liked Stranger Things better than season 3, better than season 2, which I liked better than season 1. But I only think it works together if you take the series as a whole. I think if you look at each individual season, 2 is my favorite, then it would go 1 and then 3.
Ah, okay. See, I have 1 as my favorite, then 3, then 2.
I gotta say, 2 for me was hands down because I think Noah Schnapp fucking knocked it out of the park as well in season 2.
Fair enough.
I like one of the best child performances I've ever seen. Between, normal Will, possessed Will in a fucking agony in the hospital. I was just like, this kid is fucking really good. I was really, we knew Will and Destin and Lucas and Eleven were good from season 1, but then, actually Mike and Dustin and Lucas, but then getting Will into season 2 and seeing how good he was, like, I really think he was probably better than all of them, except for maybe Millie Bobby Brown.
And Will gets no love or hype or attention on anything that I ever read. He's the last kid always talked about. But,
yeah, so I really liked season 3. as a continuation and a culmination. But I think like if you had to sit somebody down and be like, okay, watch this. Do you understand what's going on? Is this jumping in the middle doesn't necessarily work as well.
Oh God, no.
Whereas I think like in season 2 they summarized enough of season 1 that you could still get a good idea of what happened in season 1, and then season 1 was the formative one. So
Yeah. I was preparing myself to be sad because I'd heard. Once again, I avoided the spoilers. I had no idea. And then that hit me, and it wasn't the death. It was the aftermath. It was the fucking music. It was everything else. That fucking last episode hit me hard. But I am pretty confident he's coming back next season.
I don't think Hopper's dead. I mean, like, I liked how I did that in my answers for your thing, but yeah, I don't think Hopper's dead.
I love that they had that last scene, No, not the American. Okay, good. You give me hope because he has a contract that runs... And season 4 is... Last I knew, season 4 is supposed to be the last season, correct?
I thought they said they wanted to do 5.
Oh. I always thought it was supposed to be a 4... I mean, I'm fine with a 5. I'm not remotely upset about that because, so many of my favorite shows have now ended. So,
yeah. I mean, as long as Netflix doesn't cancel it, I'll be happy.
Yeah. As long, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things I like. Like, I liked the fact that now they're throwing in 80s actors. So I like they followed up Sean Astin with Carrie Elways, who I've always liked since The Princess Bride.
Dr. Gordon, yeah, and fucking Busey, man.
Yeah, Jake Busey, standing in for his crazy dad. Like when you asked about new characters, I was like, the entire cast of that fucking newspaper were such fucking toxic male assholes. Like, they all deserve to be fucking flayed. And the fact that they were only in a handful of scenes, but they could make me hate them that much, good job characterizing them. I was like, I like...
But did you laugh at them at all?
No, not really.
Oh, I laughed a lot.
I will straight up say this, especially since my wife's asleep in the other room, but Nancy is like... She's one of my 2 crushes, and it makes me feel really weird because it's like I'm finally old enough now that I have a crush who's younger than me, which makes me feel like dirty, but I kind of like it too. So
she really is. She's beautiful. She's also my least favorite character.
But I was like, yeah, we're gonna. I really like the Mind Flayer as a creature, as a character in the second season. So like I'm like, oh, what do we do to up that? Well, we make it turn it into a skin and thingy that will blow up rats and people and suck them in and have their teeth and bones as their creature's claw. I was like, all right, pretty fucking gross. Works for me.
Yeah, they were kind of working on a little bit like, they had a little bit of the Blob, a little bit of the Thing going on, which I think they've referenced the Thing every season so far.
Now, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think that was actually like the connected to the intelligence of the Mind Flayer in the Upside Down, or do you think that was just like the remnants left over?
Oof. I'm gonna say connected.
Okay.
But I really that's sheerly speculative. I don't have an ounce of anything to offer that would back my statement up whatsoever. It's just...
See, because, my whole question comes, from that last scene in season 2, where you see it in the Upside Down looming over the high school while they're at the dance.
Right.
But then you never actually see, the smoky form or the shadowy form or any of that in season 3 at all.
Yeah, I thought that was actually kind of interesting. Like, we didn't see much of the Upside Down this season compared to previous seasons.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my questions. I really liked what they did with Billy. A gave him more of a part, made him sympathetic in a way, even more than he was after you saw the episode last season where he got the shit kicked out of him by his dad, and then gave him a redemption chance at the end. So
his character sorely needed that redemption arc, and it's just weird. Like, I understand like why they did it, like the whole thing with him and Mrs. Wheeler. Like, it made sense now, but damn it, I love Ted, and he didn't get hardly any lines this year.
I really liked some of the things that they did, like episode 4. Like the scene where they go to lock him in the fucking steam room and then he comes out and he's just fucking shit up. Like, I think they know how to frame like a scene, build up suspense, build up tension.
Yeah, I felt this season more than the other 2 seasons. It took me until episode 3 to start really finding like its footing is for me, but once it got rolling, my goodness, was it was so good. And yeah, I don't know, I'm a huge fan, as many people are, of course, but I gotta say, I loved Eleven's hair this season. By far my favorite now.
It makes me laugh, just the fact that like you go on about her hair.
Dude, I started with season 1, like I made a big deal of, so like now it's kind of like expected every time that I do the blog that I have to ask about the hair.
Gotcha.
It's just a gimmick.
Gotcha.
I've gotta live the gimmick, man. So yeah, 9deuce.com will have the Stranger Things blog up possibly as soon as this coming next week. That was my goal, if I can get on everybody's ass to do. It just, hey, does anybody want to do the blog? Yeah, I do. 10 days later, what the fuck are you doing?
Forgetting about doing the blog?
Like, if you want, just fucking... I actually made this one simple compared to, like... Dude, my Orange is the New Black blog is disturbingly, like, too many goddamn questions. But it was also the series finale season, so, like, I kind of went more in depth. Which I'll exactly do the same thing for Stranger Things when it ends. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Alright. I feel like I've kept you on here for probably longer than you wanted to.
It's fine. It's fine, dude. So yeah, we talked about a bunch of stuff tonight. If you come back to wherever you're listening to this and you catch our previous one, we talked about our top 10 horror movie beginnings. We talked about our movies. We set up what's going on next month. So we'll see you back again sometime between the mid to end of September to give Kent a chance to catch up and get some rest before he starts his October. So, have a good night, guys.
See?